Welcome, everybody. Breakfast with Bob from beautiful Challenge Laguna Phuket. We're at the Albatross restaurant right here on the sea. And our next guest, Rudy Wild from Switzerland. So, Rudy, great to have you. Thanks so much for taking time.
Thanks, it's a pleasure to me too. And just staying nearby, it's an easy thing to come here and have a second breakfast with you.
So, take us back. You were a ski racer, and we're talking when you're a ski racer in Switzerland and you're at the top level, you're basically at top level in the world. So, how long did you ski race?
Yeah, that was a couple of years ago. I think that was like 15 to 20 years ago
Yeah.
when I used to be a skier, and
Yeah.
it was more fun for me to ski downhill than to go upwards or to do any endurance training as I'm
Right.
doing now.
Yeah.
And like in Switzerland, as probably in Australia, almost everyone is going surfing. In Switzerland, people are going on their cross-country skis and downhill skis.
Right.
And I was really much enjoying that. But then it was always very hard in summertime, especially to go up to the glaciers, to the mountains to do this kind of training. And actually, I preferred just doing the training out of my house, not spending a lot of time with driving
Right.
there and back.
And what was your specialty? Was it GC? What was downhill, slalom?
It was probably that year. It was more about slalom and what's the next step of slalom? The Riesen slalom. In
Yeah.
German. So this was what it was
The-
all
oh,
about.
the giant slalom, yeah.
Giant slalom, exactly. So this is actually the base for all the downhill skis as well afterwards.
And did the skiing give you a good base of training when you're, like you said, you're mainly going downhill, but you're also doing a lot of leg work. You still have to have some cardiovascular fitness to be a skier. Did that help when you transitioned to triathlon?
Yeah, definitely. I think as a child, it's very important that you have got some different things you can improve on.
Yeah.
And if you focus too early on endurance sports, I mean, as a kid, it's not that fun to do endurance sports.
No.
You prefer doing other things, and you've got the strength and the flexibility and all those things that you can practice better in downhill skiing than in
Right.
triathlon. And I think back that age, if I had started too early doing triathlon and all these endurance things, I probably had given up at the age of 18 or something like this.
Right.
But I kept it all together, triathlon and with running and swimming and downhill skiing. It was just about having fun.
Right.
And then when I got older and older, I had to make decisions because you cannot
Can't do
perform
both.
well in all these 3 or 4 legs together. But it definitely helped me for now to still have a lot of fun with what I do.
And when did you make the transition to just being a triathlete?
I think when I became a junior, this is when
High school?
high
Or-
school,
yeah.
yeah. When I became a junior in triathlon,
Yeah.
this is when I had to make decisions because until that age, you can, with your talent, you can do a lot. But this is when it starts about getting serious, and you have to put some training in
Right.
as well. And then I just had to make decisions.
Early on in triathlon, was it more the Olympic format and thinking about getting to the Olympics? Was that the goal?
Yes, of course. Yeah, it was always a big dream of me to make the Olympics, and with all that role models in Switzerland.
Right.
And so luckily last year I could make the Olympics, which
Yeah.
was a big achievement for me. And it's nice to achieve such a big goal that you were dreaming about for many years.
So you go to London, you get 39th in the Olympics, right? And that's just getting there. Did you get the opportunity to walk in the opening ceremonies and closing ceremonies and really get a feel for the Olympic experience?
Yeah, we didn't attend the opening ceremony
Mhm.
because we were in training camp.
Right. And triathlon was basically
Yes, at
back
the-
towards the end of the games.
Exactly. I think it was the 4th last day
Yeah.
of the games, but you were able to attend the closing ceremonies, which was awesome.
Yes.
Really great. But I had some backlog in the lead up of the race. I had a crash. I broke some ribs, so I was struggling.
Oh, so you broke some ribs during the
Yes.
race?
Yeah, no, I think that was one of the last qualification races down in
Oh.
Sydney, a WTCS
Yep.
race. So I had a crash there, and then I had to see how I can fix these things within
Yes.
a short period of time. And it was actually for me, it was the first time I ever had a proper injury. So it was probably a bad timing, but yeah.
But you still got the Olympic experience.
Yeah, it is. But it's nice to be at the Olympics, and I think if you make a medal, that's something special. But you will
Sure.
forget about whether you became 8th or 20th or 30th.
You were in
But,
the Olympics.
Yeah,
That's all
but
that matters.
That was great. But
Yeah.
still, I was hoping to perform better. But under these circumstances,
Yeah.
it wasn't more I could expect from the games.
Yeah. And so did you always think, my goal is the Olympics, but you're a bigger guy? I'm assuming that you knew that your strength was going to be in longer distance races down the line.
Yeah, I mean, it's obvious that you start with the Olympic distance race.
Sure.
It's most popular in Switzerland, the short distance courses. But as I got older, I mean, my big part of my role models, they used to do a long distance triathlon, and about the fascination about Hawaii and this Ironman that
Yes.
was always following me. And I think in the long term, I think for probably every triathlete, they want to do an Ironman once in their lifetime.
Right.
And I've now come to an age where you don't get any faster, let's say, but I have got a lot of experience and you can still build up your endurance.
Yes.
And I'm a quite strong biker compared to my swim. And in the ITU, if you miss that first pack, it's actually
done.
The day is over. You can
Yes.
go to breakfast right away.
Yeah, you could have breakfast with Rudy.
Yes, breakfast with Rudy. So it was sometimes not always easy to go overseas to
Yes.
a race, let's say Japan or whatever, and then you actually know after the swim you're in great shape, but you're
Right.
not in that pack, and you know you're gonna lose another 2 or 3 minutes on people which can hardly ride as you do on the bike.
Because they're in a pack.
Because you're in the pack, and this sometimes was a bit. I was a bit frustrated after that. Whereas now, when you do these non-drafting races, it all comes down to your shape. If you're doing right, if you're strong, you can still keep up with the guys, and no matter whether you lose 10 seconds more or less, it still allows you to do a very good result at the end.
So at this point, are you thinking about Rio in 2016, or is your focus going to be 70.3 challenge races, Ironman, that type of thing?
Well, I'm lucky enough to have different possibilities at
Yes.
this moment. So
Yeah, you're still a
but-
young guy. You can do whatever you want.
So that gives me some choice. But at the moment, I will do next year as I did this year. I want to do a bit of everything,
Yeah.
have a nice mix, just enjoy the life as a triathlete. I want to do a couple of ITU races, but same as non-drafting races and half distance,
Yeah.
medium distance races too. And then I think by the end of next year, I'm gonna make final decisions whether Rio is still a topic or not.
Right.
But I think if I move up to long distance, then you're gonna lose all your speed that you need for ITU racing. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
so this is why once this decision is made, it's a final decision. So I still leave that question open
Yeah.
whether Rio is going to be a topic or not until next season.
In this season, how many of the longer distance, the 70.3 and half Ironmans have you done?
I think it was 4 in total, 4
Okay.
half distance races so far. This is going to be the 5th one.
Yeah. Wow. That's a lot in 1 year.
Yeah, and I did some 5150 races
Yes.
too, and same as ITU races. So I was doing a bit of everything, and I was really much enjoying myself this season.
And what do you feel were your best races this year?
Well, I probably had my best races in Switzerland with the Swiss Championship,
Yes.
and also 5150 European Championship where I got 3rd.
Yeah.
And my key races were Des Moines and
High V,
Vegas.
yeah.
High V. So High V was doing quite well. I got 8th, I think.
In that field, that's really good.
Yeah, it's a very competitive field
Yes.
and a high density.
And good money.
Yeah, and good money. Still good money. Yeah.
And even though they cut their money, it was still
yeah,
really good
still
money.
better than everywhere
Everywhere else,
yes.
absolutely.
And then I was really going for Vegas the week after.
Yes.
And I'm still a beginner on that distance.
Yes.
And I was doing quite well until 5Ks to go. I still was dreaming about getting on the podium.
Yeah.
But then I had to pay it the hard way that I'm still a beginner. I made some little mistakes and I ended up in the medical tent.
yeah.
I think I still finished 11th, but I can't remember any of the last couple of
Oh
Ks.
my God.
But for me, on one side, sometimes it's better if you learn it the hard way and you learn your lessons for the next couple
Yeah.
of years and do it better than when not learning these lessons and then at a later age you're gonna struggle again. So I think now I know
Yeah.
what I have to work on, and I'm even more confident for next year that I can get close to podium.
What do you have to work on?
Well, this year was definitely the nutritional part.
Yeah, I was gonna
still
say, yeah.
struggling with. Sometimes I think it's not good if you know too much about nutrition, but then you're like always into these details, and
Yes.
you're not relying on your body anymore. You want to have your program, your nutritional program for the whole race instead of just listening to your body.
Yes.
And this is basically what happened to me in Vegas. I took too many carbs because I knew the only thing that can stop me now is if I'm running out of energy.
Yes.
And I was feeling great. I took too many carbs, and then with the effect that I collapsed.
Sometimes when you get too many carbs, then you get bloated and nutrition doesn't get in.
Exactly, this is. I had to learn it the hard way. I didn't know about that, but now for the rest of my life.
But you never saw that in training because you don't go that hard in training to see that.
Yeah, exactly. I never hydrate or get any proper nutrition as I did in the race in training. But
Yeah.
I was that focused on this part because I knew I'm in great shape. I'm in great position with 10 Ks to go. So
Yeah.
I knew this is going to be the only thing that can stop me, and which made me feel too much
Yeah.
of energy. And then with
So what is, in terms of triathlon in Switzerland, you've had, obviously, there's been a lot of success over the years with Natasha Bodman. You've had some great Swiss champions. What's the state of the sport in Switzerland now?
I think it's becoming bigger and bigger as we have now two ITU races. No, not ITU. We have, yes, two ITU races in Lausanne and Geneva. And same time we have WTC races in Rapperswil, 70.3, and Zurich Ironman. And as a little boy, I always went there to watch my role models winning that race.
Now, who are your role models?
Well, that time it was actually Olivier Bernhard.
Yeah.
So back these days.
Oh, yeah. Boy, he still, I think he ran 2:41 in Kona one year. That guy could run.
Yeah, I still remember,
Yeah.
And then, of course, that time also, when Mecca got older, he was also one of my role models, winning all the world championships from short distance up to long distance.
Yes.
And then I'm also good friend with Ronny Schilknecht. He's one of my best, closest friends and living just nearby me, 1K away. So we go training almost every day together, and it's been good the last couple of years to especially to ride with him. He's a very strong cyclist.
Very strong. So how many? He's won Ironman Switzerland like what, 5-6 times or something like that?
Yeah, I think it's 7 times in a row. The first ever athlete to win 7 Ironman races in a row, and it's always good fun with him. Not only the training but also the socializing part. And this is a big part for me, like this whole socializing thing with other athletes, like Sven Rieder, Ronnie. We see each other a couple of times a week. We go for training, we go for dinner afterwards, go out and party, and it's like all the things together. This is what makes it really special to me. Not only like the races itself. I mean, after race, it's very nice if you're doing well, if you have a great result, but keeps you pushing. But at the end, if you look back 1-2 years, it's not about the result, actually, that remains in your head. It's about having a good time, about meeting new people, and this is what really counts for me in the long term and also makes me feel so good about triathlon, this whole community.
And growing the sport.
And growing the sport,
when you come to a place like this,
I mean,
all of a sudden, the Laguna Phuket has become this huge place for the sport of triathlon and more Thai athletes. It used to be all the athletes here, there weren't that many Thai athletes, but now it's changed a ton. This is your first time here, though, right?
It's my second time.
Oh, your second time, okay.
I was here last year.
And did you do the 70.3?
Yeah, I did both races, the Laguna, which I won, and then I got second behind Mecca last year.
So that was a good week.
So that was quite a good week.
So after your Olympic experience, you came over here to Thailand.
It was a very nice way to finish off the season, so this is why I decided to come back here again.
Yeah.
And also thanks to many nice people that giving me a lot of support, and also this year again I had a little crash the other week, and so it was very good for me to know all the people and giving me good support and the right treatment, and I think it's just the best way to finish off a season, to be honest. I mean,
what's interesting when you're part of the Olympic team and that whole Olympic experience, I'm assuming that most of the sponsors on your chest come from the federation, and then when you become a pro in this world, 70.3 and challenge, you become an agent. I mean, you have you have to go sell your sponsors, you have to book your own travel, has that been tough, becoming more, where you're not just an athlete, you're sort of everything?
Well, to be honest, that wasn't big of a change for me during the last couple of years.
So even when you were part of the Olympic scene, you pretty much had to do your own thing.
Yeah, exactly, because you can't make a living with the federation.
No.
And I was always thankful to my sponsor that gave me the support. I can do what I love, and on the side, I'm also working part-time for a sports food company. So this also gives me some security. You make still a little earning.
Yes.
You can make a living even though you're not performing very well. So I was always lucky enough to have these strong partners on my side, and actually when I moved up now to this 5150 or half distance, there wasn't any big change. Also with organizing the trips, this is
same thing you were always doing.
Same thing I always did, and so I also like to look after my own, and so there was no big.
And the
deal.
balance of having a part-time job and having an income that's coming in from not just racing, sometimes that's good, because you don't have to totally depend on your racing. It allows you to relax a little bit because you do have an income coming in.
Yeah, I fully agree. I mean, everyone is different personality, and I'm the kind of person which likes to have something on the side.
Right.
And I did my studies in Zurich and studied economics. So
right, you have an economics degree.
Yeah. So
I interviewed a doctor a little while ago, and now I got a guy with an economics degree.
Yeah. So I'm kind of used to have things on the side, and always got up early to do my first training session, and then I would spend the day at university just to finish off the day with other 2 sessions. It was not always easy, and now when I look back, sometimes I can't imagine how I did the whole thing together. But actually,
do, yeah.
yeah, I did, and so if I'm working a half day, it's
Yeah.
not. It's like kind of what I'm used to since many years, and it gives me. I think if I have too much time to
Yeah.
think about racing, about training, I kind of lose my joy a
Yeah.
little bit for this kind of thing.
Yeah.
So actually, for me, I think it helps. Even though sometimes there are times where you're very busy, you have to look after your sponsors, you have
Right.
to train, you have to relax, you have to work. So it's not always easy, but overall, I would say for me it's better to have something, a part-time job, than just be full professional.
What's interesting is, like you mentioned Olivier Bernhardt and you mentioned Chris McCormick, and those are both guys who will be in the sport forever. You know, Olivier is still with his On shoe company, and he's still obviously very fit. Mac, who's 40 years old now, but still racing, but also just, he'll be doing the sport forever. It's interesting that those are your role models. What is it about the sport of triathlon that you obviously love?
Well, it's about having this change of different legs. I've got the swim. I mean, sometimes I just hate to swim, but
Yeah.
When it's like here, you can
Yes.
swim outdoor. It's hot. I just love swimming in the ocean.
Yes.
You've got the bike. I mean, it's just all these different things you can do. I mean, if I was a runner, or sometimes
You get
imagine
bored.
if I was a swimmer,
Yeah.
to go jump in the pool twice a day, it's just
Yeah.
not that much fun, I reckon. And also with triathlon, you've got the strength things. You have the whole the mental game going on, and
Right.
and especially, as I mentioned before, the whole community, the athletes. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been around with many different athletes, and really, to be honest, it's great to be in this sport. There's so many nice athletes and nice people being involved in that sport.
Yeah.
So I think this is what I really love about triathlon. Plus, like the lifestyle, as I said before,
It's the best.
It's a great lifestyle.
It is.
Yeah.
Rudy, thank you so much for taking time. It's really nice to meet you. And what are your goals for this weekend? You win this thing?
Well, I
That's the
won.
goal.
It is obviously. It's always
Yeah.
the goal is always to win.
Yeah.
I think I have a good chance, but there's some hard
Yeah.
athletes to beat here, and I'm
You've
doing
got-
my best.
yeah.
But I think I have quite a good chance to.
You do.
Yeah.
Well, Maca is two-time champion at Ironman, and then you've got Pete Jacobs, who won last year in Kona. So you got a good field around you.
Definitely, yeah. But I'll do my best, and I think it's also to have a challenge. This is great, and
Yeah.
it's about having a challenge for a race. And if you perform well, you might be able to be on the top, but
Yeah.
it's not finished until it's finished. So under these conditions, I think it's going to be a very, very tough race, and we only will know about the winner when they cross the finish line.
Exactly. Well, Rudy, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. It was great to get to know you.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
All right. Again, we are on triathlete.com. My name is Bob Babbitt. This has been Breakfast with Bob. Hold on, everyone. We'll be right back.